One thing is very clear. The Indiana Fever is America's team. And boy, the haters, by the time this season is over, their heads are going to have exploded already. They're going to be so angry by the end of this WNBA season. I mean, it's going to be hilarious watching the daily meltdown.
Caitlin Clark isn't just setting records. She's reshaping the WNBA. Teams like Atlanta, Chicago, Connecticut, Dallas, Las Vegas, and Washington are moving games to larger arenas to meet the demand sparked by her impact. Meanwhile, Angel, Reese might be scrolling through her phone, wondering why her name isn't on those billboards, while Aja Wilson is likely speaking out about respect once again. Clark isn't just playing the game, she's leading a season with 41 nationally televised games. That's more than a schedule, it's a coronation.
Caitlin Clark is going to spend all of next season playing in NBA arenas. We've got rival fans being furious that, Caitlin Clark is, that she's getting new arenas, getting moved to new arenas. You've got people saying that they're pushing the Fever. Why are they pushing the Fever?
Let's take a moment to appreciate this. WNBA teams are willingly leaving their own home courts just because one player is coming to town. That once unimaginable moment has arrived, all thanks to Caitlin Clark. 6 franchises are moving to NBA-level arenas just to accommodate the overwhelming demand. As a result, every Indiana Fever game, home or away, will now be played in venues with at least 15,000 seats. Not as a gimmick, but because Clark is a one-woman sellout machine. While much of the league still competes in arenas that feel like high school gyms, Clark's presence alone requires an NBA-sized stage. Let that sink in.
There are 6 WNBA teams that have moved their games to NBA or NBA size arenas.
WNBA teams aren't just making minor venue upgrades. They're making major moves to NBA sized arenas. The Atlanta Dream is shifting to the Hawks State Farm Arena. The Chicago Sky, after spending last season promoting Angel Reese as their main draw, are now hosting not 1 but 2 games at the United Center, solely because Caitlin Clark is coming. Outside of those matchups with the Fever, Reese won't play there at all. Even the Las Vegas Aces, led by superstar Aja Wilson, are securing T-Mobile Arena just to accommodate the demand Clark is generating. This isn't just hype, it's a full-scale takeover.
Atlanta Dream moved 1 game to the State Farm Arena. Chicago Sky moved 2 games to the United Center, home of the Bulls, home of the Blackhawks. In Atlanta, by the way, that's the home of the Hawks. Connecticut Sun moved 1 game to TD Garden, home of the NBA Celtics. That's going to look really freaking cool on TV.
What's funny is that just last year, these same teams were downplaying Caitlin Clark's impact, acting like her arrival was no big deal. We don't need her, they said. The league is already thriving. But actions speak louder than sub-tweets. Now, they're not just rolling out the red carpet for Clark.
Dallas Wings have moved 1 game to American Airlines Center, home of the Mavs and the Stars. Las Vegas Aces have moved 1 game to the T-Mobile Arena, home of the NHL's Golden Knights. And the Mystics have 2 games moved to CFG Bank Arena. All right. 6 teams have all moved their home games to ones with larger capacity.
Out to Connecticut for this one. They don't even have an NBA arena nearby. But for Caitlin Clark, they're packing up and heading to Boston. Yes, an entirely different city, just to play at TD Garden. You know your impact is massive when teams start outsourcing their home games to another zip code. Now imagine if Angel Reese tried to pull the same move. They'd be lucky to get bumped up to the high school gym next door.
We're now at the stage where Caitlin Clark is probably going to be responsible, I'm not joking when I say this, for like games where she plays in are probably going to be responsible for like 30% of the attendance in the WNBA.
And it's not just them. The Dallas Wings and Washington Mystics are also jumping on the Caitlin Clark train, moving their Indiana matchups to bigger arenas with more seats and even more dollar signs. This isn't a coincidence. It's a league-wide blueprint. When Caitlin Clark comes to town, it's no longer just a basketball game. It's a fundraiser for the opposing team. Some analysts are calling her the WNBA's walking stimulus package. Honestly, that's not even a joke. It's just facts.
Teams that are going to average 3,000 fans at games, but have 17,000 fans when Caitlin Clark shows up to town with a fever.
Where are the haters now? The same people who complained about the hype are suddenly real quiet as their arenas sell out and their ratings soar, all thanks to the one player they refuse to acknowledge. Meanwhile, Angel Reese is probably still fuming that her so-called unrivaled championship didn't even come close to this level of attention. And Aja Wilson, she's busy posting cryptic tweets while her own team scrambles to find a bigger venue for Clark.
Phoenix Mercury play in the NBA arena. The Seattle Storm do. There are 13 WNBA teams, 7 already playing NBA arenas. The other 6 are moving their games to NBA arenas versus the Fever. You can't acknowledge that she is the needle mover. Yeah.
Before Caitlin Clark's rise, WNBA games averaged around 6,000 fans. But Clark, she's filling 20,000-seat arenas like it's routine, tripling the usual crowd. Fans aren't just showing up for any team, they're showing up for her. Even league executives admit they'd rather give up home court advantage than miss out on the Caitlin Clark cash grab. This isn't just a hot ticket, it's a goldmine in a jersey.
A lot of people say that Caitlin Clark moves the needle. That is wrong. She is the needle. She dictates. We all know what she's done on the floor. It's history, right? But off the floor, my goodness.
Let's do the math. WNBA attendance jumped 48% last year, and guess who carried that surge on her back? Caitlin Clark. Teams aren't just adding her games to the schedule. They're structuring entire seasons around her. Take Las Vegas, for example. The Aces didn't just move one game. They relocated multiple matchups to T-Mobile Arena just to accommodate the Clark effect. The same Aces who downplay her impact are the ones booking bigger venues every time she comes to town.
Now we've got some more information on the games and some perspective. Here we are. Indiana Fever put this out, man, just a few minutes ago. All eyes on us. 41 of our 44 games are on national television.
But if you thought the arena upgrades were wild, the TV coverage is even crazier. Caitlin Clark is set for 41 nationally televised games this season. 41. That's more national airtime than some entire WNBA teams have had in the last decade combined. ESPN, ABC, CBS, NBA TV.
The most television games in franchise history, the most national television games in for a single team in WNBA history. How about that?
Last season, the Indiana Fever shattered WNBA viewership records. Now, they're the crown jewel of the league's broadcast schedule. Just a few years ago, they were an afterthought, struggling to win games. Now, they're the main event. And that's got a sting for players like Aja Wilson and Angel Reese, who likely assumed the spotlight was theirs for the taking. Instead, they're watching Caitlin Clark steal the show, dominate the ratings, and secure primetime slots. Clark didn't just boost attendance, she completely reshaped the WNBA's broadcast model. Her games consistently hit the million-viewer mark with ease.
This also just came out. This is the national broadcast schedule. Right here, against the sky, it's an ABC broadcast network television game. New York Liberty, it's a CBS game.
ABC didn't just want any Fever games. They specifically locked in the ones against Chicago. Because let's be real, the Clark-Reese rivalry is pure television gold. CBS secured the Liberty matchups, while ESPN made sure to grab the Aces showdown. After all, nothing says must-see TV like Caitlin Clark going head-to-head with the league's so-called super team. And maybe even...
These are all going to be big-rated games. CBS against the Sky. ABC against the Liberty. So you're seeing the teams that move the needles that they're going to play. That should draw some ratings anyway. I'm not going to say these other teams move the needles because they really don't.
While Caitlin Clark continues to dominate headlines and steal the league's spotlight, frustration is simmering beneath the surface. Games that don't feature Clark are getting harder to find in prime time. Veteran stars, players who've spent years grinding and building their reputations, are now watching as Clark takes center stage again and again. And let's be honest, They're not thrilled. Can you blame them? Imagine putting in years of work in the league, only to watch one player land 41 nationally televised games while your own team barely registers a blip on the sports media radar.
Bringing more and more fans to this league, people that have maybe never watched the WNBA before, and it kind of takes your breath away at points.
The WNBA's initial marketing strategy didn't do the league any favors. Last season, they tried to spotlight a variety of players, essentially handing out participation ribbons. The goal? Balance attention and keep egos in check. But fans weren't buying it. They tuned in for Clark and skipped everything else. The data was undeniable, and the league had no choice but to adjust. Suddenly, it wasn't about balance anymore. It was about giving the audience what they wanted.
The WNBA needs to do everything they can to promote Caitlin Clark. And I'm not saying do it at the expense of anyone else, but they went into last season basically trying to promote anyone but Caitlin Clark for I don't know what reason.
The WNBA finds itself in an awkward position. They need Caitlin Clark. Her games drive ratings, sell tickets, and keep the league in the national spotlight. But every time she lands another primetime slot, the gap between her and the rest of the league grows even wider. It's a tricky balance, because right now, Clark is the show. And everyone else?
Basically tried to do it to promote anyone but Caitlin Clark. And that made no sense. Because for the long-term growth of the league, you can't just promote one player. But promote Paige, promote Caitlin, promote rivalry.
Analysts predict that at least one of Clark's games this season could surpass 4 million viewers, putting her in the same league as top NBA broadcasts. That kind of number is enough to make marketing executives drool, but it also highlights just how far ahead Clark is from her so-called rival.
That is literally what they should be doing. You should be promoting every single player in this league, but not. And again, don't promote Caitlin Clark at the expense of the league, but also promote Caitlin Clark. Promote everyone more. Promote Caitlin Clark constantly. Promote all these players constantly. Promote rivalries constantly. Promote these big games constantly.
And speaking of rivals, remember when Angel Reese tried to claim the face of the league title back at LSU? Yeah, about that. Those dreams have gone up in smoke. The Clark versus Reese rivalry the media tried to manufacture completely evaporated. One look at the national TV schedule says it all. Clark isn't sharing the spotlight. She is the spotlight. What we're witnessing is the total collapse of the co-star narrative that Reese's fans pushed last season. That storyline disappeared faster than morning dew. The networks and fans have made their choice crystal clear. There's only one main character in this story.
America's team, yeah, guys, I mean, let's just be honest. This is exactly what they do in the NFL with the Dallas Cowboys. All right, this is exactly what they're going to do, and they do every year with the Dallas Cowboys. Why? Because they draw ratings.
Reese, this latest shift in the WNBA spotlight has to sting even more than the bricks she throws off the backboard. She spent her college career branding herself as the next big thing, the face of women's basketball. From viral moments to endorsement deals, she fully embraced the idea that she was the game changer, and her fan base. Oh, they backed her every step of the way, insisting that Caitlin Clark's success was nothing more than a media-manufactured phenomenon. But now, the silence from those same voices is deafening. As arenas are being restructured, venues upgraded, and marketing budgets rerouted, all in Clark's direction, it's clear who the real game changer is.
I'm sure this is because of Angel Reese. That's good. That's really good. Seriously, no, not at all. The Caitlin Clark effect is real.
Just imagine what it must feel like for Angel Reese to watch her own team, the Chicago Sky, abandon their regular home court for the United Center, but only when Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever come to town. They're not making that move for her. Nope. It has nothing to do with Reese's popularity, performance, or presence. It's all about Clark. That's got a sting. The Sky might as well be the undercard for the Caitlin.
Get the point. All the Sky games are on big networks. All the Indiana Fever versus Sky games are on big networks. The Aces game, like I said, is on ESPN. The Liberty games are on big networks, the games against the Liberty. So, and there's a lot of Ion on here.
The Chicago Sky's social media team is still desperately trying to push Angel Reese as the franchise centerpiece. They're cranking out photos, highlighting
how many of these games, guys, one of these games is going to hit 3 million viewers this year. All right. I don't know which one. I assume you can look at the Sky and look at the Aces, those two games, and think those are the games that could, in theory, break 3 million, maybe more than that. The All-Star game, of course, did a massive rating. What is it going to end up doing this year? So it's all going to be very interesting.